You see a shiny new EV on the road, and what do you think of? The design, right? The speed, the brand? But the real power, the very heart of this entire revolution, isn't something you can see from the outside. Nope, it's hidden deep inside, and that's what we're about to crack open.
So what's with this number? Well, get this. For an electric scooter, up to 40% of its entire cost is just the battery. That is a massive chunk of the price tag, and it tells you everything you need to know about where the real value and the real power is hiding. And that brings us to the core question of this entire explainer. It's not the company with the slickest ads or the flashiest design. The real control belongs to whoever controls the battery. But, as you're about to see, building a battery empire is one of the hardest games in town. So while all of us are watching this big, public race to build the next great electric car, there's a much more intense, high-stakes battle happening completely behind the scenes. It's a fight to manufacture and dominate the single most important part of an EV, its power source. To really get this, you've got a picture of battery business like a fortress that's constantly under attack. There are these four huge enemies, these major threats, trying to bring the whole thing crashing down. All right, enemy number one, raw material volatility. See, batteries need these key ingredients. We're talking lithium, nickel, cobalt. The problem is, most of these materials have to be imported, and their prices can just go wild, completely out of your control. I mean, think about how petrol prices seem to jump around all the time. Now, imagine if the core ingredient for your multi-billion-dollar business did that. The price of cobalt can literally double in just 1 year. And if you haven't locked in a fixed price, poof, there goes your entire profit margin.
It is a massive risk. 1 year, everything's fine, your costs are manageable. The next year, some political issue halfway across the world makes the price of cobalt skyrocket, and your entire financial model is just shattered.
Okay, on to enemy number two, finding the right people. This is a huge one. You can't just hire any engineer off the street. You need these super specialized electrochemistry engineers and material scientists for your R&D. And these folks, they're incredibly rare, and everybody is fighting to hire them.
And then you've got enemy number three, the insane amount of money you have to sink into it. Building a battery gigafactory costs billions of dollars, and it takes a long, long time to see a return on that investment. I mean, really let that sink in. You spend a fortune, let's say over $500 million, to build this state-of-the-art factory. But if the market for EVs just slows down for a bit, that huge pile of cash is just stuck. It's not doing anything for 10, maybe even 15 years. That's what they call a long payback period. And for investors, it's terrifying.
And this last one, this might just be the scariest of them all. Technology obsolescence. The battery tech that's king today could be totally worthless tomorrow. All it takes is one new breakthrough from a competitor, and your multi-billion-dollar factory could become a museum piece overnight.
It's the classic Nokia story, right? In 2007, Nokia was untouchable. They were the kings of the mobile phone world. And then the iPhone happened. And almost instantly, Nokia's entire business model was irrelevant. That exact same threat is hanging over every single battery company today. Okay, so you've got these four massive threats coming at you from all sides. How on earth do you survive, let alone win? Well, the answer is pretty brilliant. It's a strategy called the flywheel, and it's all about building unstoppable momentum. The idea itself is actually pretty simple, but it is so powerful. Just picture a giant, heavy wheel. That first push to get it moving takes a ton of effort, right? But every push after that gets a little bit easier. And pretty soon, the wheel's own momentum takes over, and it starts spinning faster and faster, almost by itself. The goal is to build your business to work the exact same way. So the very first big push to get that wheel spinning, it's something called vertical integration. Basically, it means you stop relying on other people. You control the whole shebang yourself, from investing in the mines that dig up the raw materials, all the way to shipping out the final finished battery. This is your shield against volatile prices and a risk of new tech making you obsolete. Think about Amazon for a second. For years, they had to rely on companies like FedEx to deliver their packages. Then they said, forget this, and built their own massive global delivery network. Now they control their own destiny. That's the exact mindset you need to have in the battery game. Now, to keep that flywheel spinning faster and faster, you need a second push, and that comes from creating a circular economy. This means you go out and collect all the old, dead batteries. Then your company extracts all the valuable stuff, the lithium, the cobalt, and you feed it right back into your own factory to build brand new batteries. It's brilliant. And here's the absolute key takeaway. The real winners here, they're not just selling batteries. They are building a closed-loop, self-sustaining system for all these critical materials. The battery itself is just one piece of a much, much bigger and more powerful machine.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This sounds great in theory, but does it actually work in the real world? Well, the answer is a big yes. And for proof, we just have to look at how Ola Electric in India completely cracked the code.
So when Ola started, they were just doing what everyone else was, importing battery parts from China and just putting scooters together. But they had this light bulb moment. They realized that if they wanted to have any real power, any real control, they had to think like Apple. You have to build the core stuff yourself. And for them, that meant the battery.
I mean, just look at the difference here. It's night and day. On the left, in the before column, they were importing everything. That meant high costs, a super risky supply chain, and they didn't even own the technology. Now look at the after column. They're making it all in India. The result? Lower costs, a secure supply chain, and this is the big one, they own their own intellectual property. That's the game changer.
So when you take a step back and look at the big picture, you realize we're in the middle of this massive, historic shift. A whole new generation of industrial giants is rising up, and they're poised to become the new kings of energy.
You know, humanity has always been in a race to control energy. That part hasn't changed. The fundamental game for power and dominance is exactly the same as it's always been. The only thing that's changed is the resource everyone's fighting over.
And really, this is the single most important thing to understand. For the last 100 years, global power was all about who controlled the oil wells. In this new electric age, global power is going to be about who controls the battery factory. That's it. It's a fundamental truth that companies like Ola, Tesla, and BYD have all figured out.
The pieces are all on the chessboard. The race for what is essentially the new oil has officially begun. And this isn't just about building better cars anymore. This is about building the great energy empires of the 21st century. The only question left is, who's going to build them?